Welcome everybody to Oxygen vs. Caesura Overgrowth Ladder Edition Game 2. Caesura having taken Game 1 with some interesting lift off to the gold action. In the top right part of the map, it is our Terran player once again, Swanky's Caesura. Wishing his opponent good luck, sir. Tipping him his fedora. And in the bottom left we have his opponent, our red Protoss player, also from Team Swanky, Oxygen. Your cheese ain't swanky. It's stanky. It's very swanky. Excuse me, responds Caesura. Get out of here. Oh! And throwing out the BM right at the beginning. So let's see where this goes. Now, this map I find to be very, very aggressive in the show matches. It is not always that way, but it is, I think I would say more than half the time, tends to turn into somebody either trying to take the gold, like Ninja expanding to the gold base, or doing some kind of weird one base cheesy thing. And that's pretty much what I am going to expect to happen. That's just kind of what I'm looking out for at this point. The macro games can happen here, but it usually requires that both players be of the passive mentality and not either flexible or aggressive in nature. So flexible players tend to go from a little bit more aggressive stuff here. But we will see, we will see. Nothing particularly unusual from either player yet. Typical gas timing from Oxy. Same from Case for the most part here. Trying to think of when that went down. I think that's the Reaper timing, actually. Should have just enough by the time this finishes to get that Reaper started. And yeah, that's exactly what it looks like, judging by how quickly they're mining. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, Case has told me that he never scouts. When he comes up here with that fast Reaper, he pretty much considers it a success if he manages to kill a few probes with it. That's pretty much all he's there to do. Whatever scouting occurs is incidental and not necessarily intentional on his part. This is a very interesting base structure here from Caesura. Actually, if you look at it on the minimap and just kind of tilt your head to the side, you'll notice there's an eyeball here, and a nose, and a mouth. So we've got a really frightening clown base in the bottom left. And up here, yep, there's the Reaper. So pretty much just behaving normally. It takes everything but one worker out of the gas, goes back to mining, and it looks like he's getting set up to go for a fast expand. So it's Reaper into a fast expand, wants to try and keep his opponent preoccupied. But so far, it looks like Oxy's actually going for the build that more or less lets you survive this without too much trouble. In fact, he may be going into fast Stalker play or fast DTs. Twilight Council coming up here. No Mothership Core just yet. No Stalkers just yet. He's going to need one or the other, or this Reaper is going to become an incredibly huge problem very quickly. Here we go. Let's see how much damage he's able to get on with this. He does actually see the Twilight Council, and now he's going to come down here and get to work on the probes. Starting with the gas probes is not necessarily a bad move, but unfortunately, it does mean that he's not going to be able to focus one down as easily. Looks like he's going to try and take out the Zealot. This is exactly what Oxygen wants to have happen. Unfortunately, the pylon not quite done when he wanted to get the Stalker out. But as long as he's only shooting at the Zealot, then he buys time for the Stalker to get out, and he doesn't lose necessarily any probes. But if he loses it now with the supply block in play, this Reaper can just heal up and come right on back in. Here comes the Chrono Boost, though. And once the Stalker is out, the Reaper's ability to kill anything is a lot more limited. And hey, check it out, guys. It's DTs. Alright, so DTs against Terran. Not something that you see necessarily a lot of players will rush for. They'll use it in like the mid or later games, for sure, because DTs can be very, very powerful against a army that's out of position. But unfortunately, it's also rather easy to pick up on, so a lot of players don't tend to go for this. However, I think Oxy is more or less relying on Case's predilection toward not scouting in this particular situation to maybe get a decent amount of damage done. Here comes the Reaper's going to run around the back here. He's actually does see this. The question is, does he click on it and does he prepare for it in any way? Nope, he loses the Reaper. So what goes on back home? Looks like he's just going to get some Marines and Marauders. I'm pretty much just going to watch what he does with this next 50 energy. If he immediately throws down a Mule, I'm going to take that as a sign that he isn't really paying too close attention to what the Reaper was seeing. And no, he's keeping the energy. We'll have to keep our eye on that just to be sure. And yeah, there's actually a missile turret going up the front here. So despite Case saying that he doesn't really like to scout, more or less did that exactly here, and should be really well defended against this. This is going to pick up any entrance attempts from these DTs without something like a Warp Prison to help him out. and it's not like the probe is going to be able to get any further in. So most likely this will turn, hopefully if Oxy picks up on it before he loses the DTs, it'll turn into a quick Gateway Archon push. And the real question will be, does Case have enough to actually defend against this? So far, I got 2 bunkers up already, though. 2 Marauders, 4 Marines. A lot of defensive power here. If you can pull those units pretty quickly, then he shouldn't have too much of a hard... units. SCVs pretty quickly shouldn't have too much of a hard time defending against this. A little bit of a supply block for Caesura, though. Does mean that his army will be a little bit weaker than normally against Oxygen's push. 3rd pylon coming up here. More Stalkers in position. Blink is just about to finish here. He has the DT Shrine, but he actually hasn't used it at all. This is pretty much just going to be a Blink push. Oxy already seeing the double bunker in position. And Blink is finishing. Now up comes the Guardian Shields doing a decent amount here to help keep these units alive. Unfortunately, the Sentry is doing a great job going out into the front and making sure that it dies really quickly, meaning that it's not going to be able to offer that Guardian Shield to the army really during the actual engagement that's about to follow here. Both players are producing units at a fairly nice clip. Unfortunately, Caesura was supply blocked for a moment there, but not too significantly. It has a decent number of SCVs in position to help defend against this. Blink's now coming down on top of Oxygen's army to keep his Stalkers alive as long as he can, doing a decent job of that here. Unfortunately, missing it in a couple places. Trying to focus on the bunker, but he can't really do it, and I think this is going to turn out really, really well for Caesura here. Now, the question will be, does Oxygen push the issue and either just kind of try to fight through all of the army that's here, see if he can just sort of outpower it, or does he fall back and try something else? So far the answer is he's going to just sit here and wait. Meanwhile, Caesura is trying to put up more bunkers. Bunker number 1 doesn't get up, but bunker number 2 is kind of far back, a little bit harder to hit. Oh, but there's actually nothing here to defend the bunker, and the bunker actually goes down. The workers moved away from it a little bit too quickly there, but unfortunately there's so much DPS in this army now for Caesura that I think Oxy's just going to lose everything. And he's got basically nothing behind this, though, so that's GG. Wow, that was way faster than I expected.